Good evening, ma'am.
Good evening. Good evening. Why very little students are there? Only Varshit and Anubhav. Who else is normally there? Who else will be there? Varshit, Anubhav. I don't remember the students' names. Krithwik. Krithwik. Okay, only Krithwik. Anybody else will be there?
No, ma'am.
Okay, fine. All right. My Krithwik didn't come to class. Okay, we'll just continue where we stopped. What did we see last time? Both of you all gave your homework, sent your homework? Did you all send your homework? I think Anubhav did.
Yes, ma'am, I did the homework.
Did you send it to me?
Yes, ma'am, I have sent it to you.
Okay, let me check. Yeah. This. Okay, yeah. Anubhav, I got yours. Varshit.
Yes,
Varshit,
ma'am, I'm sending, ma'am.
yeah, send it to me. Yeah, Anubhav, I already got your work. I already checked it. I was asking for Varshit only. Always send it on time, okay, Varshit? Like, send it before itself. Don't wait until for class.
Okay, ma'am.
Okay, so how are we written? You can prevent tooth decay by taking a healthy diet, drinking plenty of take water. Is that English correct? Check that in grammar mistake, Varshit. Plenty of water, that's it, not plenty of take water. Instead of sugary drinks, brushing your teeth twice a day using a fluoride toothpaste and flossing once you've written twice. Cut that. Tooth decay should be treated by a dentist to prevent it from getting worse. The epiglottis is usually at rest, allowing air to pass through. Look at your spelling. Pass into the larynx and lungs. When a person the epiglottis folds backwards to cover the entrance of the larynx, so food liquid do not enter the windpipe and lungs. Mm, so canine teeth on either sides. All right. Okay, fine. Just the grammatic error. Otherwise, your answer is correct, Varshit. And Anubhav, I already checked your answers. They are right away. Now let's just let me know if I'm not audible because I'm actually sick. I won't be able to scream much. So just tell me if I'm not clear, okay? Um, Continuing with where we stopped. We saw about the taste buds and we were talking about the different locations of the alimentary canal and where the digestion will occur. Just share my screen. Yeah, I hope it's visible. All right. So now we've done with the first part, that is the mouth and the buccal cavity. Now we're going to talk about the second part, that is the foot and the esophagus. So now we have swallowed the foot, and the swallowed foot passes into the foot pipe or the esophagus. So foot is swallowed and it enters the esophagus. All right. So basically, it's like the foot gets into the foot pipe or the esophagus. Here will be your bolus. And you have your stomach. Our stomach is a J-shaped, like J-shaped structure, okay? So the bolus, and this is your esophagus, and this is your stomach. This is how actually your food passes through. Where did it go after this? Where would it go here? What comes?
Small intestine.
Sorry?
Small intestine.
Small intestine. Very good. All right. So this is how actually the movement of the food inside the alimentary canal is. Okay. So what happens? The foot pipe, it runs from where the foot pipe starts. It starts from our neck. Okay. It starts from our neck and then it goes to our chest region and then our stomach. Okay. And then the foot is pushed down by a movement of the walls of the foot pipe. Okay, so it's basically now for example, you're wearing a full sleeve dress. Okay, so how will your hand move inside the full sleeve of your hand? You push your hand through, and your hand comes out through the sleeve, right? See, similarly, there is some pressure that is created by the walls of the alimentary canal, which pushes the food downwards. Okay, so the food is pushed down by a movement that is done by the walls of the foot pipe or the esophagus. This movement will take place throughout. Okay, like where does the alimentary canal start from? Starts from the alimentary canal starts from the
Buccal cavity.
very good buccal cavity. Ends with the
Anus. Anus.
so from the buccal cavity to the anus, like till it reaches here, the alimentary canal will have that movement. It will continuously have that movement, that movement of pushing the foot downwards. All right. So since from the start till the end, the movement will be there. So this movement takes place throughout the alimentary canal and pushes the food downwards. Sometimes the food is not accepted by our stomach. So what happens if the food is not accepted by our stomach? What will happen with the food? It will come back and comes back. What is it called?
Vomiting.
Vomiting. So when food is not accepted by our system. Okay, so 1 minute, guys. You're going to today maths, right? Do the lesson. Okay, just look at the intro. Give me 5 minutes. I'll come. Okay. All right. So what happens when the food is not being accepted by our system? Like when it's food poisoning or it's something that you don't like or the taste is not nice. So it doesn't get it doesn't get accepted by your system. So at this time you vomit it out. So what happens? What all happens when you're vomiting? So recall all the instances like when you vomit after eating. So when for example, you guys have definitely vomited food, right? So how do you feel when you are going to vomit? Like what are the feelings you go through? Hello?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, you have definitely vomited, right? So before you
Yes,
vomit, you get a feeling, right? What is that feeling? How do you feel?
ma'am. Sometimes when I vomited, I got like some taste from my nose and from my mouth, which was very
Okay, okay, all
disgusting.
right. Okay, all right. What about the next person who answered now?
Ma'am, Varshit.
Okay, Varshit. Can you try Anaba?
Yes, ma'am. When we vomit, ma'am, I feel that the things are so means about the different of taste, ma'am.
Okay, all right.
And the ma'am throat also shakes slightly.
All right. So the throat also, you can see the change in your throat and your taste buds. Okay, so this will be one of your homework questions. You are going to find out why human beings vomit. All right. So now let's talk about, now we have spoken about the buccal cavity and all the flexible movements that takes place by the alimentary canal from the throat to the stomach. Now we are going to talk in detail about the stomach. So the stomach is what? It's a very thick walled bag. Okay, you can see it's like a bag over here. Okay, so the wall is very thick. So the walls of the stomach are thick, and you can see the whole stomach is J-shaped. Okay, and it is one of the widest part of the alimentary canal because the alimentary canal is going like a tube like this, and only in the stomach part it becomes widened like this, right? So it is the widest part. Okay, and what happens? It receives food from the food pipe. So basically, the esophagus. From the esophagus, it receives the food. Okay, and then what will happen from the food pipe? And that is in one end. That is this one end over here, and this is another end of the stomach. The second end. The second end opens into the small intestine. Okay, so the inner lining of the stomach, what happens? There is a small lining over here. Okay, it's a small lining over here. This inner lining of the stomach, what it does is it secretes mucus. You know what is mucus, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so next question for your homework is, okay, okay, you guys just copy the notes still here with the image and everything for better understanding. Copy it till here and let me know.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am, done.
One minute, guys.
Done, ma'am.
Okay. All right. So we saw that the mucus lining is being present in the inner lining of the stomach. Anyone has any idea why it is being present?
Ma'am, to control the HCl acid.
Okay. All right. Fine. So you know that I've already mentioned to you earlier, there is an acid that is being present inside the stomach. Okay. And this acid is nothing but the hydrochloric acid. Okay, it's a concentrated acid. Okay, so basically if you pour hydrochloric acid in your hand, it'll make a hole in your hand. Okay, so in order, so by now there should be a hole in our stomach, but why that didn't happen? It's because of the mucus. Okay, so this mucus, it protects the inner lining of the stomach. Okay, so the acid, what is the use of this HCl? What does it does means it kills the bacteria that is in all our food. For example, there is some germs in the food that we're eating, means it will kill all the bacteria. That is why hydrochloric acid is there. So the acid kills many bacteria that enters along with the food, and it makes the medium in the stomach. So the what is it? The stomach is acidic or basic? Stomach is acidic or basic?
Ma'am, acidic.
Acidic, because HCl is present inside the stomach. All right. So what happens? The stomach acidic, and it also helps the digestive juices, all the juices to act. I already told you, pancreas secrete pancreatic juice and all that. For all of them to act, the HCl is very useful. The digestive juices, what they will do is they'll break the proteins into, so all inside the stomach itself, you can see there is acids. So the stomach secretes digestive juices. So why is it called the digestive juices? Because one thing, it is there in the digestive system. Second thing, it helps in digestion. Okay, so digestive juices, what it does is it breaks down protein into simpler substances. So complex proteins into simpler substances. This is the function of the digestive juices that is present inside our stomach. All right.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, now going to the next part. So after the stomach, it enters into the small intestine. So what happens in the small intestine? The small intestine, it is very, very highly coiled. It is something like, it is not like this also. Okay, it's not coiled like this. It's highly coiled like this. So it's like so many twists and turns is there, and surrounding it will be your
Ma'am, large intestine.
Large intestine.
Large intestine. So, how many meters do you think this small intestine is?
Ma'am, 6.5 meter.
6.5 meter, I think. Okay. What about the next person? How much do you think the length of this
Ma'am,
will be? Tell me.
ma'am, 7 meter.
Okay, it's actually both are pretty close. It is 7.5 meters. And imagine how big it is. Okay, it's like what? It's actually what to say, it's bigger than your height, right? It's bigger than how tall you are. It's very, very long. All this is completely coiled into a small portion inside your body, that is the small intestine. So what the small intestine's function is? Firstly, what it does, it receives secretions from two important organs. I've already mentioned you the digestive juices are secreted by many organs. Can you tell me what the organs are?
Can you repeat the question, ma'am?
The secretions of basically the digestive juice secretions are secreted by what all organs?
Ma'am, it is, ma'am, stomach, liver, pancreas, salivary gland, and etc. ma'am.
Okay. So liver and pancreas are the two important organs here from which the small intestine receives the secretions from. Okay. Now first let's talk about the liver. Okay. So this liver, oh, okay. This liver, it looks something like this. This is actually, and also basically the liver's color is also the same only. It looks something like this. Okay, so this liver is a reddish brown gland. Okay, so reddish brown is the color of the liver basically. Okay, and it is located at the upper side of the stomach, as I already drew in the beginning and I showed it to you. It's located in the upper side of the stomach, which is over here. Okay, you can see the liver over there. So this liver, what it does is it okay, so let's keep the liver aside. So you have so many organs in your body. You have the pancreas inside, basically the internal organs. You have the heart, the liver, the kidney, the pancreas, the small intestine, large intestine. Then you have the stomach, you have the rib cages, and you have the gallbladder. You have so many tiny, tiny organs. So among these organs, which organ do you think is the largest? Any guesses?
Ma'am, small intestine.
Okay, small intestine is the largest liver. Okay. What about the next person?
Ma'am, can you repeat the question? A call came just now, please.
Among all the internal organs that is present, which organ do you think is the largest?
Ma'am, is the large intestine? Ma'am?
Okay, fine. Okay, apart from, let me not tell organs, let me say glands. You know what is the difference between glands and organs? Okay, so that will be your next question. Find it out. Okay, so basically there are a lot of glands in our body, and one of the largest gland in our body is our liver. Okay, the liver is the largest gland that is in our body. Okay, so what it does, it secretes a juice which is almost like in what to say, dark green color basically, or a greenish red color, which is called as the bile juice. The bile juice is secreted by the liver. Okay, so this bile juice, there's a small sac over here. Okay, the sac will only secrete the bile juice. This sac is called as the gallbladder. The gallbladder is the one that secretes the bile juice. Okay, so what this bile juice does, it is an important role in the digestion of so HCl in the stomach helps in the digestion of which nutrient? Quickly. HCl in the stomach helps in the digestion of which nutrient? Class, I told no protein. So fats help in the digestion. Sorry, the bile juice that is secreted by the liver helps in the digestion of fats. All right, am I clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So again, our next thing, the pancreas. The pancreas is another organ that is present over here. Okay, it is in the lower abdomen basically. So now coming to the pancreas. So pancreas looks something like this. Okay, it's subtropic color. So it's like almost a cream colored organ. Okay, and it's a cream colored gland. Sorry, it's a cream colored gland. And what the here it secretes a juice called as the pancreatic juice. The pancreatic juice, what it does, it helps in the digestion of carbohydrates, fats, and proteins. It just changes all of them into simple forms. Okay, so mostly all the digestion in the stomach, the protein is digested in the liver, by the liver, the fats are digested by the pancreas, and carbohydrates, the proteins and fats, the extra of them, they are digested. So all this remaining, so after all this whole process, yeah, after all this whole process, where does all the remaining particles of the food go?
To the
Ma'am, large intestine.
large intestine.
Large intestine. Very good. Okay, copy it so far. Copy your homework also.
Yes, ma'am, done.
All right. So that's it about the pancreas. So now all this remaining food particles that is not digested, you already very much know it goes into the large intestine. Okay. So what happens? The partly digested food. Now all the not the complete digestion has not occurred. Okay. So somewhat the food is being digested. So this is resulting in partly digested food, which goes to the lower part of the small intestine. So actually this small intestine, you can see this is the starting point. This is the ending point. Actually, it should come somewhat like that. So that is, and this starting point is actually not here. You know, from the stomach only it enters, right? So okay, maybe the stomach is somewhere above. Okay, so the starting point is here and the ending point is here. Here it goes to the large intestine. All right. Okay, now you can see the food is coming from the stomach to the small intestine. So this small intestine is actually divided into 3 sectors. Okay, this portion, this portion, this portion. So we'll be talking, so each sector has 3 different names, which we'll be talking about. Okay, so this is the lower region. That's why I've told you the partially digested food will go to the lower part of the intestine. So this is the lower part of the intestine. All right. So we will talk about the names in a while. So what happens once it goes into the lower part of the intestine? Now the intestine's wall will secrete juices. Okay, all the intestinal juices will be added. Okay, lower part of the intestine where the intestinal juices are all added to the partially completed or partially digested food, and the complete digestion will take place. This is the result. Complete digestion is the result. Fully the whole. Once go through, I'll give you a small test on this alone. Okay, so complete digestion takes place once it is being mixed with all the intestinal juices. Okay, so the carbohydrates, what happens? It gets, now we're going to talk about, you can see over here in the small intestine, like all the parts that has been happened here, all this is only happening in the small intestine. So the small intestine, you have carbohydrates, fats, and proteins, both of all the 3 of them taking place. So first, the carbohydrates, what happens? It gets broken to. So you're going to see what the carbohydrates is getting broken to, and then what the fats are getting broken to, and then we're going to see what the proteins are getting broken to. So the carbohydrates, listen carefully, the carbohydrates are broken to simple sugars, not complex sugars, simple sugars, like for example, glucose. Just if for extra information, this is the scientific name, C6H12O6. This is the glucose formula. Okay, so carbohydrates are converted into simple sugars, and fats are converted into fatty acids. Fatty acids plus glycerol. And finally, the proteins are converted into amino acids. All right. So basically, this is like a complex form, and this is a simpler form. That's it. It's nothing but the same thing. Now, what it's just your room is very messy. You're organizing your room. So carbohydrate, and it turns into simple sugars. That's it. Okay, that's what. Now, more much of a difference. This is the basic thing that they're trying to say. All right. So now we're going to say how the food is being absorbed. So how does the absorption take place in the small intestine? Okay, so the digested food, now you can see all the food that is being digested and converted, it can pass through the walls of the intestine. So this is the small intestine, for example. This walls of the intestine, this is the wall. I'm drawing a double A to show the wall. Now inside each wall, you have blood vessels. That is why all the food that you eat reaches your blood. Here is the place where all the food that you eat, all the energy reaches your blood, which enriches your body. Okay, so all the digestive food can pass now through the blood vessel that is present in the wall of the intestine. So the food is now going into the blood vessel. This part or this portion that I'm explaining right now, where your food is traveling into the blood vessel, is known as absorption. This is the term, this is the meaning of absorption if I ask you. Okay, now the inner walls of the small intestine, you can see this inner wall. What will happen? This, like you can see on your tongue, there are tiny dots. No, you won't be able to count all of them, right? Similarly, in the inner wall of the small intestine, there are tiny fingers like projections like these. These are present fully everywhere from the start of the intestine to the end of the intestine. I'm not drawing all of them, I'm just drawing in a small portion over here. Okay, so tiny finger like, so basically it looks something like this. It is present on the intestine. This is called as the villi. How do you pronounce it?
Villi.
Villi. Okay, so when there are too many projections like this, it's called a villi. If there is only one projection, it's called a villus. Okay, this villi is rich of blood vessels. There are so many blood vessels. Okay, so that from the through the villi only the food particles will reach your blood. So the villi basically it increases the, so I want you to find the function of the villi. Copy this so far now. Yeah, copy this so far now.
Done,
Yeah.
ma'am.
Okay, all right. So any doubts so far? Is it clear?
Yes, ma'am.
All right.
Yes, ma'am.
So you can see that this villi is the portion where all the blood vessels are being, to reach the region where the intestine is rich with blood vessels, and all the food nutrients that is being absorbed by our small intestine reaches your blood through your villi. All right. So this villi, it increases the surface area for your absorption of your digested food. So you can see that each villus has a network of thin and small blood vessels that is close into its surface. The surface of the villi, what it will do, it will absorb the digested food material, and all the absorbed transported, like all the basically the food, which is this, and which is your blood vessel. Okay. So from your blood vessel, where does it go for your blood vessels to?
Our body.
All parts of the body. Okay, and there they are used for building all the complex substances. So what happens? This is one funny thing that happens in our body. So when you're actually consuming protein, the protein is broken down into amino acids. It is converted into amino acids and it's absorbed by the small intestine back into our blood vessels. And from the blood, it will go to different organs of the body. And all these tiny, tiny amino acids that is being, transported are again built or converted to proteins. They're again converted to proteins. Okay, so the use of building all the complex substances, which is protein, that is required by, and this proteins then only it is used by body. Okay, so can you see? You might ask, why should they convert the protein into amino acid and then again convert the amino acid into protein? They could have directly, absorbed the protein like that itself. Can anyone answer this question? You can try, not an issue.
Ma'am, can you repeat the question, please?
You want me to repeat it?
Yes, ma'am.
So what I'm asking is, you can see that the protein is being converted into amino acid, and then the amino acid is absorbed by the small intestine, and then absorbed by the villi, and then to the blood vessels, and then to the all parts of the body. And again, this absorbed amino acid is being converted into protein. So why should this whole process come like this? Directly, the body could have used the protein that is eaten. No. Why should they break it down and again convert it into protein and then use it? Can anyone answer that?
Here the sum of half of x and 2 times of
Sorry?
sum of half of x and 2 times of
Why?
oh, that's right.
Yeah, tell me guys. Anybody know the answer?
For the better digestion.
Your voice is breaking. Can you be more clear? For the
Ma'am, better digestion.
can you type it down? I can't really hear you. Like your voice is breaking. Can you type it in the chat box?
Okay, ma'am.
Better digestion of for the body. Okay. Can you try Varshit? Varshit,
Yes, ma'am.
can you try?
I think because of some particles which are not essential for our body, so that they break down it and release it from minus, and the important particles they will again make it to proteins.
Excellent. Actually, that is the reason. Okay. So basically, the food that we're eating is not directly used because of the unwanted particles. This unwanted particle is nothing but the bacteria that is present in the food. If we directly consume the proteins, then who will kill the bacteria in everything? Only when, for example, you're buying a basket full of fruits and vegetables. You can directly buy it and then eat it directly. No, but what you're doing, you're separating everything into separate covers, washing the fruit, and then maybe for a fruit salad, anything, you put all the vegetables back together, right? So only when you break down the particles, you'll be able to clean the particles for consuming it in a neat way, for preventing all the health and side effects. This is why the proteins are broken down and again being converted into proteins. This breaking down and again being converted and used by the body, this whole process is called as assimilation. Okay, so this is a new word for you. So write a few words on assimilation. I've already given. Okay, I've already given 4 questions. I think that's enough. We will learn it in next class. Okay, so assimilation is the new term. You have done this whole process of breaking down and again using it is known as assimilation. So in the cells, I already told what a cell is. So in the cells, what happens? Now you know this is a cell, a human cell. It has a double layer. It has all other tiny organs, mitochondria. It has a big nucleus, all ribosomes. So this is just one single cell. You know there are million cells in your body. So in the cell, what happens inside the cell? The glucose. So the glucose is broken down with the help of oxygen. So the oxygen, what happens? Breaks down the glucose into carbon dioxide and water. You CO2 is carbon dioxide, H2O means water, okay? And energy. Okay, so from where are you getting this glucose? This glucose is nowhere but from the carbohydrates. I already told you the proteins is converted into amino acids, and the amino acids are again being converted into proteins, which is used by the body. This is called as assimilation. So what happens with the glucose? The glucose that is converted by the cells to carbohydrates, water, and energy. So leftover is fats. Okay, so the food that remains undigested and unabsorbed. So fats nothing but fatty acids. Fatty acids, you know what is fat used for? Fat is used for giving you. Fat is used for giving you what?
Ma'am, energy.
Energy. So the fatty acids is directly used for energy purposes. So after all these processes, you will have your undigested and unabsorbed food. This undigested and unabsorbed food, where does it go to? Enters into the
Ma'am, large intestine.
large intestine, which will be our next topic, which we'll be talking about in next class. Okay, copy. And you've copied this and also for only this assimilation part left. Copy this alone and we can meet in next class. Let me know if you're done.
I already referred to a book for this question. Yeah.
What is slightly white? Totally excited. Small T, okay.
Done, ma'am.
Okay. We'll see you next class. And I hope Arshit, you're also completed, right?
Yes, ma'am, completed.
Okay. See you in next class then, guys. Bye.
Bye, ma'am.
Bye, ma'am.